It's Saturday, and after a long, hot week of racing, it all boils down to this. Over my shoulder, it's finals build-up, which means this is the EFRA 1/8 Track European Championship Finals Day Roundup Show. Well, we'll be taking in finals action from both the European Championship A and European Championship B. But first, we know Dario Ballestri's on pole. We know our Super Pole winner, Simon Kurzbuch, will be on second place. But let's meet the two fastest drivers in the semis who'll be snapping at their heels in the final. Alessio, you were fastest in the semi. Did that give you a good feeling going into the final?
So for sure, but I pushed hard. From the beginning of the semi, it was like a quali, but over 20 minutes. So I think the final will be the same, but it's 45 minutes. You cannot do mistake, but you must push always.
You've got two cars to get past. Do you think there's points on the track where you can actually overtake?
So I think that no. You must hope that the driver behind you must do a bit mistake or must stay a bit nervous to arrive long in some corner, but I think it's almost impossible to try to overtake one car.
Robert, you are second fastest in the semi-finals, so is it a struggle to get to that stage where you could get the power that you needed?
It was not so much like in qualifying. I have the feeling Alessio couldn't use same power for the semi like he can use in the qualification, and I hope for the same situation for the others in the final.
Well, to have a chance of winning, every team here will be trying to get the maximum possible performance out of their cars. They'll be on the edge and will no doubt push things to the very cusp of what's allowed. With power being so important, I went to find out how the scrutineers are able to ensure that each team does this within the rules. This class seems to be all about power. All the drivers are saying make or break in this particular class is power, right? So is that why it's so important?
Yeah, really now in this moment in this class, the weak point that we have is the engines. So because we have a maximum grip, maximum downforce with the bodies, so the top driver always need more power. With more capacity, we have more power. So now with the 4 minutes in the heats, or even with the Super Pole, it's only one lap. So they don't care. The drivers don't care the refueling. The drivers they don't care in the 3 consecutive laps. They don't worry with the refueling. So the capacity is so important to keep the engine in the limit of the power and the same for everybody.
My name is Alan Levy. I race for Austria, and sure, I was here for the Euro. It's important to check the engine because now you can find some way to put another sleeve and another piston inside the crankcase, and you increase the volume so you can have a 4cc engines.
The comparator is the tool that we use to check the stroke because it's one of the measures that we need to take to calculate the capacity of the engine. So with the comparator, you can put you remove the glow plugs, put the comparator, then you can calculate the stroke. This is the first measure that we need in the technical inspection to calculate the volume of the engine. And then we need to remove the cooling head, and then you can check the diameter of the piston. So with the two measures, then you can put in the calculation in Excel in the computer, and you can see everything, the final measure of the capacity of the engine. For us, the maximum 3.5. No tolerance in this way. Normally we do that for all TQs, for all Super Pole, and we can check random on each car if it's possible to get this kind of measure.
Well, there we have it. It's about to get started. Let's go over to Nick Damon to find out our final grid.
So for the European Championship A final here 2019 from France, in pole, Dario Ballestri from Italy. Second, it's Simon Kurzbuch, the reigning champion from Switzerland. Third, Alessio Mazzeo from Italy. Fourth, Robert Priech from Germany. Fifth is Franco Pesco Tironi from Italy. Sixth, Robin de Hont, the Belgian ex-European champion. Dominic Reiner, ex-world champion at 1/10, is from Germany and starts 7th. His fellow German, Tony Gruber, starts 8th. Camarado from Italy is 9th, and Gilles Groscamp brings up the rear in 10th position. The European Championship A Final 2019. We are underway now. There's a clean start from everyone, and there's an immediate battle between Balestre and Kurzbuch. Balestre in the white car, Kurzbuch in the orange and yellow machine, as they fire themselves away and into the first corner. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So the first person to lose out is a 5 car of Tironi. Hont moved up 1 place. And immediately, Balestre beginning to stretch out a lead from Kurzbuch as they funnel through the chicane. So it is a nice lead for Balestre. Second place is Kurzbuch, third place is Mazzeo, fourth is Peach, and then Hont. So the battle we're looking at the moment is for second and third. The multiple coloured car, well, it's got 2 colours, it's orange and yellow, of Kurzbuch, fending off the attention of Alessio Mazzeo. But don't forget, out ahead and pulling away is Dario Balestre. We've seen this before, actually, and often it's ended in tears of a breakdown, but he's getting away nicely, and these two are causing a bit of a car with Peach behind them in the greyish-blue car. So second place Kurzbuch. Again, that time round, dropped 0.3 of a second to Balestre in the lead. So the Swiss driver looking to catch him up, but at the moment, away goes Balestre, the current world champion leading the current European champion. Mazzeo from Peach. And then we have Groscamp's a big mover, gone from 10th to 6th in the first 4 laps. So good work from the Dutchman. That time round. 16, play 15. So it's the first time actually there, a slight ease back of the lead by Simon Kurzbuch, only 1/10 of a second. And very much now we've got a leader, a second, and they're gapping the rest of the field. So let's drop back 1 to 3rd, which is Alessio Mazzeo. He's got Pietsch really pushing him hard, and behind Pietsch it's Dominic Greiner. Greiner, who won the other semi-final, but so way down because it was won the second semi-final, but way down because it was a much slower race. The white car is Mazzeo in 3rd. Behind him is the light blue or light bluey grey machine of Pietsch, the 2010-2012 champion is Mugen. Mazzeo with the X-ray, and they are getting quite close as they flick-flack through the chicane, and now round the A main turn before they come to the broadcasting hairpin and power up the straight before they sweep to the right and then tighten into the F returns. At the front, the lead now 1.8 seconds for Balestre from Kurzbuch. That time round, both did 15.9s. Greiner looking to move forward, so the meat and the sandwich is Pietsch. Just drop back 1 to Pietsch because he's got may have an issue with his fellow German, Dominic Greiner, quite soon. So Greiner hoping for a good race. It's not maximum BS, obviously. And gained a little time there coming into the ever sharpening turn 1. That's turn 2, I suppose, really, if you're numbering them in an American way. So the lead is now 2.1 seconds. Balestre getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Well, look at Greiner right at the backside. Greiner very, very quick at the second part of that opening corner. And they can't always convert it into anything because it's a very difficult track to overtake on. Now again here, come around here, sweeping by the second part. Look, gain. This time didn't have to ease off too much. This is the battle, so it's 4th and 5th. The other top 3 are all gapping themselves, so actually it was a good lap last time round. Balestre said, Balestre's a problem. Balestre's dropped into 2nd place, so somehow, off camera, Balestre's done what he can. He's come off the track and he's dropped to 2nd. So what we need to do is identify how that's happened. Yeah, so let's move forward to Balestre. He's about to go to start-finish line now, and he is the white car who's not gone in the pits. Kurzbuch stopped in the pits. Balestre had a problem. I can't believe he stopped in 4 seconds. So I don't think it was a stop offline, because that's far too quick. But he had a problem, lost 4 seconds on a lap, dropped in 2nd. He now leads, of course, as Kurzbuch was pitted exactly on 4. And now, where will he come out? That's Mura, the world-famous mechanic, who mechanicked Andy Moore to World Championship victory in 2006 for the Touring Car Championship in Electrics. And Balestre recovers from that problem, but his 2-second lead has disappeared, and he now will begin a battle with Kurzbuch over the next 3.5 minutes before the next fuel stop. Kurzbuch just ahead of him, your Swiss reigning European champion. And in the white car, the Infinity chassis, is Dario Balestri, your reigning world champion. A World Championship won just up the road here from here, nearly 2 years ago. So Kurzbuch that time round was actually 500 seconds faster. And it looks like the initial speed has settled down. And it edged back by 800 a second to Balestri. Now what's also quite noticeable is Mazzeo and Greiner aren't being dropped. And the top 4 cars are covered by a grand total of 3 seconds. Balestri, every time you see at the top of the shot, you'll be seeing that's his target. That is Simon Kurzbuch. Unfortunately missed his little arrow, which cost him 4 seconds just prior to pit stops, but here we go, picking up the pieces. The Italian needs to cut down the Swiss driver, who is nothing if not relentless. It's almost Swiss precision against Italian flair when you come to this racing. As they flick-flack through the chicane again. And the pace is relentless, but no one is yet to be lapped. Robin de Hont running in last, but he isn't massively behind. Obviously, I don't think he's going to win, but he's not being dropped. So the first 2 now, just edging closer. Balestri gained a 10th here and a 10th there, and this time he's noticeably closer after a good run through the chicane. He fires up the straight, first and second in the same shot. It's a 3/10 gain. It's actually a drop by Kurzbuch, and they're going by Balestri. Balestri's issue he's got is that one thing we do know is that getting past this circuit is not easy. And if anything, I think he dropped back a little bit that time. Yep, 16-1 to 16-3, so a 2/10 gain for Balestri. Balestri got another problem. Mazzeo, as I'm going to say, his Italian compatriot, is beginning to bridge the gap and might make it a 1-2-3, and he's pulling Greiner with him. So it could be 1-2-3-4. Peach a little bit dropped at the moment in 5th. And that was a minor error coming through the tightening part of the first corner before it becomes the Efra section, and that lost Simon Kurzbuch in the yellow and orange Shepherd car enough space to let the white Infinity of Dario Balestri gain, and he picked up about a 10th of a second there. And they are now as close as they can really get and still be racing, because effectively you start attracting the same piece of track, and therefore you can't both occupy at the same time. Now, Balestri's got a major issue now. If he can't get past a pit stop, how's he going to get past? Because Kurzbuch can run the line. Look at that. Even though he lost a bit of the rear end there, he can run the line. And this is a single line track. Oh, there's he thought about going up the inside, Balestri. But Kurzbuch knows what he's doing. You feel in free air that Balestri will be slightly quicker as he nibbles at the rear of the Swiss European champion. But the speeds they're doing, it's precision dancing. They're balancing the grip of the cars, and again, he's just got so much extra turn in at the end of that ever sharpening first corner, but he can't do a lot with it because Kurzbuch can plant his car in the correct part of the corner, and in fact almost gains out of it because he kind of defeats the momentum. Stay with Balestri and see what, because this is his chance now. Can he go really quickly for 2 laps and therefore effectively do what's commonly known in F1 terms as the overcut, where he gets it by being faster whilst he's not stopping? So he was a lap longer last time, so he's going to 2 laps longer. I'm not sure. Will this at the end of the day, this extra couple of laps, enable him to, someone stopped, I don't know who it is, enable him to gain enough time to get past Kurzbuch. Okay, so put down, Mura pick up the car. Fuel goes in. Oh, it's a bit of a busy pit lane. It's not. Oh, it's a slow stop. It's a slow stop. I think he's flamed. Very slow stop there. And another car, 2 cars are flamed. So this is hot weather. It's a very quick flame, but I think that Balestri flamed there. We'll take him until he gets across the line and see what the time was. But that obviously was a problematic pit stop there after 10 minutes of running. It's not all over unless he does it again at every stop. And Balestri did a 27, so he lost 5 seconds, and he's dropped down to a net 5th. Now, in the lead, on an alternate strategy at the moment, is Jules Groskamp. So, though he's now not in the lead because he's actually stopped for fuel at this point. So Kurzbuch picks up the lead. So let's pick up our leader, yellow and orange, just coming into Infinity hairpin now. That's Kurzbuch back in the lead. Second place is Alessio Mazzeo, who is back by about a 2.7. This is your leader. Let's drop back one car, Ash, and that is the second place man of Italian Alessio Mazzeo. Behind him is third place or at Peach. Now Balestri's on a charge back. He's managed to get past Pirola and Groskamp and up into fourth. But this is second. This is Mazzeo. And then Balestri's been repassed by Carmen Raiola, so that's not going to help him. Still a long, long way to go here. 34 minutes. We're only 11 minutes down, but basically we're a quarter of the way through the race. Kurzbich holding a 1.8 second lead over this man, Alessio Mazzeo. Peach is back a further 2.8 seconds. Raiola 1.1 behind that, and Balestri is second behind that. So Balestri, who got past Raiola briefly, has now fallen back behind him again. And Kurzbich having quite an easy run of it after that flame-out issue during the stop. Francesco Tironi was the car that stopped on the track and lost 3 laps. And he will now not be a European champion this year. Tommy Greiner must have had a problem in his pit stop as well, because he's fallen way, way down. So Greiner, who's doing really, really well, now has fallen down right to the back of the cars who haven't had an issue. So Mazzeo continues to drop back one car to Piech. And that's it, that's the Piech car. Sort of a light grey car. Doesn't really show up very well against the track, does it? Surprised you can actually see it himself. So, with 12 minutes down, it's all looking particularly good news for Kurzbich. She's got about there's a 1.1 second lead, 1.9 second lead on Mazzeo. Mazzeo has a 1.5 second lead on Piech. Balestri's got himself back past Carmarola. I think he's on a very different fuel strategy, but he is now something in the region of 7 seconds off the lead. So a great start. It was going well, fell off slightly, and then had the flame out. So it's not been a perfect start for Balestri. Kurzbich, on the other hand, probably quite pleased with Piech coming into fuel, as you saw there being put down. Kurzbich ahead of him. So Piech comes back out again. This is probably the period where we see people like Groskamp, who's on a different strategy, move to the front or move further forward. And also wait for these staggers to unwind. There's Alessio Mazzeo now, who's running more laps than Kurzbich, takes the lead. Balestri is running more laps than Kurzbich, moves into third, and the guy we're with, Piech drops to fifth due to the stagger of the pit stops. Now what has happened is Balestri is running a lot longer, and the interesting thing is he's not that far behind the shepherd of Kurzbich, which means that if he does manage to save a stop during the course this time, I'm just going to, this time he doesn't flame, so standard stop for Balestri, drops back behind Piech. So Kurzbich will now be leading from Mazzeo. Piech will drop up a couple of places as the stagger of the various pit stops unwind. And we are in a very much an interim situation here. For example, Carmen Raiola is running quite a different pit stop strategy, and that's pinging him quite high up now into third place. So we can look at where, so Peach now comes round. There's 3 seconds, so Raiola should be between the two of them. So move forward one car, Ash. It's the second of the white cars going up, well, the third actually, the white cars at the top of the corner now. That's it. So the white car, and that is Carmen Raiola, enjoying a slightly different experience whilst he's on a different pit stop strategy. The biggest problem is that because of obviously the demands of this track, we have a great number of pure white bodies with stickers on. Obviously the only available can of Rattle can was white, and they all sprayed up their new bodies on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday and all went with white. So you have several cars who are plain white. Very few cars, much fewer than normal cars, wearing their race paint colours. In fact, there's 3 white cars in a row coming past me now, which is Mazzeo, Riola and Balestri, who are actually 2nd, 3rd and 4th at the moment, and they're all in white cars. So one of them, I think, rather conveniently went in for a pit stop at that point. And it was the man we were following, Riola. So he's stopping on 5. So he has a pit stop in hand. Balestri moves back up to 3rd and 5 seconds off Kurzbusch. Peach just seems to have dropped right off the pace these last couple of seconds, so Peach may have had a problem. But he's off the pace. Greiner's had a problem. It's missing. Tirreni we know has had a problem before. So I think that might be the Greiner car that's being recovered. Yep, we've lost Dominic Greiner. So moving back to the front of the field, let's find our leader with the orange. He's going around the A main turn now. Orange and yellow, about to put a lap on Robert Pietsch, having already put a lap on Robin Dont. So Pietsch has obviously had a problem and has lost quite a bit of time. And he will now soon be lapped by the leader, Simon Kurzbusch. Kurzbusch's lead over Alessio Mazzeo, though, is a car, and that car is Robbie Dont, but only in time terms, 1.8 seconds, and Balestri a further 4.3. So Balestri is gaining on Kurzbusch, and I think that at some point, we'll take Kurzbusch through his pit stop, I think that Kurzbusch is going to have to make an extra stop. So this is not all done and dusty with 28 minutes to go. But it will, of course, require Balestri not to have those 2 problems he had early on. One, falling off the track, and secondly, a flame out during his 2nd pit stop. So Kurzbusch will rejoin in 3rd. With Mazzeo, who's on a slightly different strategy, like 2 laps longer. And as he progresses down in 4th place, Kurzbusch. And Mazzeo, who is... So 2 or 3 laps, and Balestri is like at this point be 4 laps longer. He's running a lap longer per stop. As other cars fly out the pit, and oh, well, it's very polite indeed. Oh, it's Pietsch as well. It's Pietsch letting through. Sorry, I thought that was going to be Railer didn't let him through. Stopped. Railer is a good few yards ahead actually. So Carmine starting 9th. He's ahead of Kurzbusch by about 1.3 seconds. Balestri leads again, but it's not a real lead. Saying that, it's not a fake lead either, which makes very different. I think he actually comes in now. So Balestri comes in. He's had a good 4 minutes. He started up well again, so he's had a good run. That's been a good section of the race for Balestri. And he'll come out again. Effectively now, I think a pit stop in hand he will have over the course of the next 27 minutes. As Kurzbusch now comes over in 2nd place with a very, very long-running Raiola ahead of him and leading. I have no idea how that's going to wend out, as problem for the 8 car of Tony Gruber as well now below us. So Kurzbusch has a couple of seconds on Mazzeo. Now the question really is Balestri. Balestri's right behind Mazzeo now. So let's drop back to the Mazzeo and it's all going. Basically, it's down at the broadcast hairpin now. That first white car, the 3. That is Mazzeo. Now, it was a difficult lap just then for Balestri because he got involved in all sorts of other cars, lost about a second, as they were getting confused just past here in the Infinity hairpin. But if you look now, it is Balestri who is the next car behind Mazzeo. Mazzeo running in 3rd. Balestri 4th. Raiola's leading this thing, and I'm not overly sure that could well be a genuine lead because of his fuel strategy. So Raiola has played a bit of a blinder here as Carmen. I think he's actually genuinely doing what he's doing. He's kind of fuel this time, so he's dropped back down. Kurzbusch takes the lead. Mazzeo comes in 2nd. Balestri will be 3rd. And we're actually back to having the 3 white cars together. So Raiola, with a full tank of fuel, is right behind the other 2. So this is a genuine position for him. He's in between the 2. He's managed to actually come out in between Balestri and Mazzeo. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th, white, white and white. Well done, boys. Are running together. 2nd is Mazzeo, 3rd is Riola, and 4th is Balestri. So it's 3 Italians, 3 white body shells, and that's really great. But there's a bit of a black tip to the wing of the Mazzeo car. And Raiola in the middle, so Raiola has a black tick to win, is the person who might even be in the box seats due to his fuel strategy. And this is why I love these long-running IC finals, because suddenly you have strategy. Suddenly it's all about, it's not just about pace, it's about tyre wear, it's about fuel stops, it's about pacing yourself, it's about being fast at the right type of the race. And obviously also avoiding the potential mechanical disasters of flame out. Now, Kurzbusch has a healthy lead over Mazzeo of what is now almost 4 seconds. That is a good lead. However, other cars behind him are on different fuel strategies. It's not quite as good lead. This has been a good couple of seconds, a good couple of runs for Kurzbusch. He's pulling out on these three a little bit. They've had some traffic issues and they've been tripping over themselves as well. Balestri doesn't seem to be able to move back one car. And that is the Raiola car. Now, Balestri is all over his backside as he goes through the Infinity hairpin. But doesn't have the methodology of getting past him. And what's happening at the moment is actually giving Kurzbusch a chance to pull away as these three are scrapping. So Kurzbusch making the hay while the sun shines as Balestri takes a far too much curve in an attempt to get past and drops off the back again. And these three Italians are hurting their country's challenge and allowing the Swiss driver to get away. So Kurzbusch has stopped now. So Kurzbusch stops. At this point, he then drops back down to... Oh, Kurzbusch a bad stop. A bad stop for Kurzbusch. He stopped and he's had a 30-second stop, which sounds like he may well have flamed as well. So that throws it all back open again. So Kurzbusch has dropped back down 9 seconds, and you can see him running in classed as 5th. When the fuel stops unwind, he's not going to be much higher than 3rd. So Kurzbusch with something on the pit stop there. I assume it's such a short problem. It must have been a quick flame and get going again. Alessio Mazzeo is having a problem as well. As we go through another round. So Camarolo leads. Balestri is 2nd. Crosscamp is 3rd. And we have your leader here. This is Raiola leading. And it's all about fuel strategy here. That very short run time some people are getting is giving huge advantages. As Balestri comes in. And Raiola's still going, Balestri's flamed again. No, Balestri tyre change, right. So full tyre change now for one of the cars. That's not Balestri. That is the Raiola car and a full tyre change very quickly. Now that might explain Kurzbusch's long stop. Kurzbusch's long stop must have been a tyre change. So he didn't see it, but Kurzbusch has done a 4 tyre change on the last stop. So that is why he did the 30, despite having it being no time. So that was a very swift stop. Raiola's 4 tyre change, 31.6. Balestri leads, so that was the mystery answer. I didn't see the Kurzbusch stop. It was a tyre change, which is why he was a 30-seconder. So Balestri now leads. Let's pick up our leader because he is coming through the A main curve now. Another one of the white cars, and he's the second of those 2 white cars, Balestri. And he leads, but it's very difficult to tell where everyone is as we hit the halfway mark in relation to everyone else. Can Balestri run on one set of tyres? It seems unlikely. The others are changing. But if you're going to change, the time to change is at halfway. If you're not going to change, you back it off. Currently, quite a bit quicker on these old tyres than Kurzbusch on these new tyres. It was 4/10 quick last time. So Balestri has had a very eventful 23 minutes so far as he completes another lap and goes past the broadcast hairpin. Raiola in 3rd with a full tyre change and 3 seconds behind Kurzbusch. Mazzeo in 4th. Crosscamp 5th. 4 of those cars are white. I thank heavens for Simon Kurzbusch knowing what body shot he wanted before he got here. So this is an incredibly intriguing final we've had so far. I did think at one point it was going to get rather dull, just Kurzbusch off in the distance once Balestri made a mistake, but absolutely there's a different pit stop strategies, both with tyre and with fuel. So Balestri now has a lead as I wait for it to tick through with Kurzbusch. His lead's massive, his lead's 8 seconds. So when he stops for fuel in a second, he'll still be in the lead unless he stops for fuel and tyres. So Balestri's next stop is key. If it's a fuel and tyre stop, he's going to come out behind Kurzbusch. If it's a fuel only stop, he'll probably stay in the lead. Shoots now down beneath us. Any second now, he must be thinking about turning left. It's a long time since Kurzbusch stopped. Watching various cars come in. Another tyre stop being done for one of the other machines. So Balestri's going to change tyres. It's going to be at the end of this run as he comes into the F returns and will sweep through the very difficult chicane. But at this point, he's out front and he's turning laps and he's turning good times. He gained 6/10. The car in its current condition with the smaller tyres is absolutely as Balestri wants, and he's making absolute hay compared to Kurzbuch in this particular run. And was that Kurzbuch had just come back out of it, so he's about a lap ahead of Kurzbuch. He's got to stop. So Kurzbuch has come out directly ahead of Balestri. He's a stop ahead of him and virtually a lap. So from being behind, Balestri is on the track, admittedly with an empty fuel tank, but that is the man he was fighting. Now scored 4th, Simon Kurzbuch. Best part of a lap behind. Now Kurzbuch wants to avoid getting lapped for the simple reason it'll cost him another second. Problem for the 3 car of Mazzeo. Mazzeo made a mistake as Balestri comes in. Right, is it tyres? Fuel first, and there's a tyre stop. Now, how quickly can they do it? Is it both? Is it just one side? No, it's both sides. I think it might be a left side only. And out he goes, and a quick stop. So Balestri now, especially since Mazzeo made a mistake just prior to the stop, and Kurzbuch is literally right behind him. So that pit stop for Balestri sees Kurzbuch directly behind him in first and second. And Raiola's stopped as well. So we are now running at 20 minutes, and it's noticeable that getting used to the new big tyres is causing a problem for Balestri. And Kurzbuch now, pretty much similar fuel strategies and stops and everything else, has a chance to try and get the lead back with 18 minutes to go. This is your first 2, your world champion, your European champion here at the 2019 European Championships in France, brought to you by RC Racing TV, in association with Control, in association with F-Red, with our sponsors Infinity and A-Main Hobbies. And we have a battle royal for first and second between the 2 favourites of the event before we got here, Dario Balestri from Italy and Simon Kurzbuch from Switzerland. They've been as far apart as almost a lap. They both led. They've both not been leading as someone else has been ahead, but now they're together after 27 minutes of racing. Balestri now getting more used to the new tyres. Kurzbuch, I think, still has a fuel disadvantage, which may see him need to do an extra stop, and that must be a massive worry for him. But in pace terms now, they're right together. 3rd place is Carl Morello, 4th, Mazzeo, 5th is Groskamp, but all eyes on the 1st and 2nd. As we run this middle part of the race, and suddenly Kurzbuch looking to get past him, because he needs to find and get ahead and get a few seconds. I think he does have a fuel disadvantage still, and I believe, and he might have to stop one more time. So Kurzbuch, at this point, if you just visual gaps, only give you time, just slightly being gapped, I'd say, by Balestri, getting a little bit further ahead. Last time round, it was 2/10. This time round, that's a better run through for Kurzbuch, and the gap was, it was nothing. It's 300 of a second faster for Balestri as he settles down onto these new tyres. The worrying thing for Kurzbuch is, though, he's got to get past him. And it's not long before Kurzbuch has to peel off left. Let's make our attention Kurzbuch now, just with the second place. I just think he's going to go for a fuel stop soon. And we can open up and see where Balestri is. Made a little mistake on the last lap, Kurzbuch. He lost him 300 of a second. But despite many different permutations, we've ended up what we've kind of hoped and thought we'd get, which is the 2 best 1/8 IC drivers of the last 4 or 5 years in Europe, finally going head-to-head for many a lap. And it's Kurzbuch who is beginning to think about stretching the fuel. And just to give you an idea, in the last 2 laps, it's been 500 of a second faster for Balestri and then 500 seconds faster for Kurzbuch. And they are dragging each other around to another one of these monumental performances you see when the top RC racers finally get to race each other. That's when you see the real talent. That's when you see the real skill of these cars. They are tiptoeing and balancing these cars at speeds of anything up to 70, 75 miles an hour. When they're going slow, they're doing 40. Bang, fire. And now Kurzbuch comes in. Cannot afford any mistakes. Down now. It's quite a pedestrian drag. It's obviously, I would kind of panic and grab the car and pull it out, but obviously that kind of slow, steady movement is what the cars need. Perhaps it means that the fuel tanks don't get bubbled up and they can get the fuel guns in better. So Kurzbuch now will stick down to 3rd place behind Raiola. 15 minutes to go. Now what actually happens is how many, it says 1 lap and Balestri's not come in. I think it's going to be at least 3. 2 laps and Balestri's not come in. This is where it's going to start getting problematic, because Kurzbuch among everything else, is probably going to need to do an extra stop, and that may be the difference between winning the European Championship and coming second. Balestri goes underneath us again. That's 3, and he comes into. He's got 3 of advantages because Balestri comes into fuel. Balestri is being fueled. He's down. I think Kurzwich is going to take him. They come out together, and Kurzwich does get it. So Kurzwich gets the lead through the pit stops. The undercut worked. But now, 3 laps, which is a minute and a half, sorry, it's 45 seconds. Is that going to be enough to eke out an extra stop? I'm not sure if it is. They have a short fill at the last one, which will speed things up. So Kurzwich leads. Balestri second. Let's see if we can get it a bit wider, actually get both cars in. Coming around the infinity curve. This Battle Royal will now be joined for another 10 laps before Kurzwich has to fill up again. Balestri needs to get as close as he can. Needs to pressure Kurzwich. Both of them now in the meat of their second set of tyres. As they come around the A main. The interesting thing is Raiola in third. He's not out of this. He's only 1.7 seconds back, and it looks to me like Kurzwich has got a little bit of extra pace. Yeah, he gained a 10th that time round. Just from the fact that the cars are getting slightly more distant. And definitely, that was a gain. Yeah, 0.3 of a second. So Kurzwich in this part of the track, he just made a little minor error there and lost a couple of tenths. Has the pace over Balestri. And this monumental ebb and flow. This is like a 5-set tennis match, isn't it? You think when someone's got it, there's a tie break, and then someone double faults, and then something ebbs and flows. The ebb and flow on this race is fantastic. Monumental race so far. And we've still got another 13 minutes to go, and I can't call it, because even though Kurzwich is leading, I think he's got a fuel disadvantage. Now, if Balestri knows he's got a fuel disadvantage, he needs to run safe. But I'm not sure even Balestri himself knows what's going on. The team, they do have headsets. They can be in constant communication with their drivers. They can tell them what's going on, or they can guess what's going on. And you would think that Kurzwich might need to stop once more if he's very unlucky, or it might just be that Balestri's a much shorter fill for the last stop. But that doesn't really speed the stop up that much, because it's the stopping, it's picking up and putting it down that's the main part of the 6 or 7 seconds it costs to stop. So Kurzwich comes round again. Now, after pulling away quite convincingly, last couple of laps look slightly better for Balestri, but I think it's tenths either way. Balestri definitely looks close to this lap. He's had a good run out of the hairpin, and now he fires up the straight. He was getting a quarter of a second. A quarter of a second when you're only, half a second ahead is a massive amount. As they come through the chicane again into the Infinity hairpin, the shepherd of Simon Kurzwich and the Infinity chassis of Dario Balestri. So this has been a good few laps for Balestri. He's come back into it again. So he's now making this lead virtually nothing. When Kurzwich will pull in, when he pulls in, Balestri will do 4 laps before he pulls in. And we then have to try and work out if that means he can skip a stop. And if he can, now, little minor error there. And it's on those minor errors, and it's actually on the in-lap for Kurzwich. Kurzwich, take the field with Kurzwich. Up, down. He's now got 4 laps to go as fast, but now he did have a decent lead there, though, thanks to the mistake that Balestri made. But he still dropped down to third. He'll drop down behind Raiola, I would think. I think Raiola's taking fuel himself just now, so he might not drop behind Raiola. Nope, stay second. So first and second, they've got a big enough gap to stay first and second when they take fuel. So Kurzwich, that was lap 1, should come out with a reasonable lead. But the key thing is at what time of the clock, because Kurzwich needs to stop twice more. We know that. At what clock does Balestri go in, and can he do by stopping once more? And I don't think he can, as Kurzwich gets getting hassled by someone from behind, which I think is the Alessio Mazzeo car. Which you could do with that. No, that's Balestri. So Balestri stopped already. So Balestri has either had an error or has stopped early. And perhaps Balestri's decided that he can't save a stop, and therefore has decided to go on to a safer strategy of not running down. So I didn't see Balestri in the pits there, but he did do a 21.5, which is exactly what a pit stop would be. And so a first and second are back together again. Balestri not going 4 laps longer, just going 2 laps longer. Obviously the battle to save a stop's not going to work. So now let's make this thing a bit more even, make it a bit more, we're doing the same thing. And first and second are nailed together. And Balestri perhaps possibly thinks that what he wants to do is run 2 laps longer and try and get Kurzbuch on the track, but by an overcut, but at this point they're right together, plenty of traffic, first and second, don't need to tell you the distance. So 35 minutes in, 10 to go. Kurzbuch and Balestri fighting tooth and nail for the European Championship 2019, trying to score points prior to going to Fontana in California for the World Championships at the beginning of November. Balestri, world champion reigning at the moment. And of course, Kurzbuch is the reigning European champion for at least another 10 minutes. It might be a year in 10 minutes. So they are right together as we come down to 9 minutes to go. And Balestri hassling and harrying. Third place man Riola. Oh, around the outside, thinking about it hard. So Riola is back 3 seconds, waiting for them both to hit each other very hard. So slightly better there after that attempt. He just kind of lost a bit of momentum. As Balestri switched up his pit stop strategy, decided to go on the same one as Kurzbuch, just to take away that. I mean, it means he always won't have any chance of running down with fuel, so he's always going to have plenty of fuel. Oh, look at the inside for a sharp run, but you're not going to get the drive out of there. So these two drivers attempting to occupy the same piece of track, really, but that's why Balestri, who's quicker at a couple of parts of the track, slower at a couple of parts of the track, that's why it's so difficult to get past. And he's he's decided that possibly the Infinity hairpin is where he has a chance by backing the car in. So in the car comes. So now, with Balestri now still trying to chase very, very hard into Simon Kurzbuch. As they drive we've got 7 minutes to go. Kurzbuch from Balestra. As the occluding cloud comes over. Just a few seconds to go. They're coming to the pit together. So this is the evening up stop. Try off the hotspot. So it's getting very, very close now. Pietsch. So Balestri now has a lead of 1 second from Kurzbuch through that situation with the pit stops. And Balestri continues going on. But they are right together with just 6 minutes left. Balestri leads, Kurzbuch is second. The gap now with 6 minutes to go is just 1.9, 1 second exactly, so 1.096. So Balestri looking particularly strong at the moment. The 1 car, and the 4 car, and the 0 car, all going round, but it's looking particularly good. So. So 5 minutes to go. And Balestri leads. Kurzbuch now, he needs to catch him up. There's a gap of about 1 second. as they carry on racing round. So Barry Balestri now looking at 5 minutes to go. We went to the absolute final, last moments of this European Championship. Balestri has put in a magnificent performance over the course of the last few laps, but what he's trying to do most of all is win the European Championship. He's got a lead of 1 second from Simon Kurzbuch. Kurzbuch, that's gone down that time now. A tenth penny of it. Kurzbuch comes into the corners as they sweep through the chicane for what will be one of the 4.5 minutes to go. And then not much time left. They sweep through the chicane. Now they dive back round and up the straight. So Kurzbuch, back marker in the way, and the back marker, who is that? That is the 9 car in the way, and that was the 4th place, Macan Riola. So they've lapped up to 4th. Kurzbuch now, he's trying to get the inside of Riola. 1, 2 and 3 together. Can Kurzbuch get past Riola? Riola now needs to let him through, and he does. Oh, Kurzbuch is his last fuel stop. Can he make anything of it? He's got 3 minutes to go. Stay with Kurzbuch, because he needs to make some time now. Kurzbuch on the last fuel stop of the European Championship. Is it going to be possible for him to win the whole thing or not? There they go. Kurzbuch has to wait to see how long it is before Balestri decides to pit. And the answer to that question is not very long, because Balestri has pitted. So they have come out together. Balestri pits, they pitted, and this is the gap. This is the gap for the last 3 minutes of the European Championship final. Kurzbuch is down by less than 1 second from Balestri. There's cars where, see if you can get it wide enough to get them both in, Ash. There is Balestri from Kurzbuch. There's 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. They've been fighting the whole way through. Kurzbuch and Balestri fighting. As they drive round. Oh, it's so close. Oh, and they're looking very closely, and there's just so much traffic, and the car popped out of the way. But Balestri, where is it just ahead? There's so many white cars is the other problem. You kind of lose track of which white car is which white car, and Balestri looking left and right and trying to get past. And up the inside now goes Kurzbuch. Kurzbuch and Balestri right together. We're down to 2 minutes to go, and the cars are as close as they can possibly have 45 minutes. Now they've done the traffic. That's got to be a massive relief for Balestri. Balestri now looking to see what he can do. Left, right through the chicane. Gained slightly on Kurzbuch. Kurzbuch's got to try something special now. They both had their last stop. They've just got to make 1 minute 40 seconds. It's about 6 laps. Who will win? No one knows. As Balestri now comes round with Kurzbuch. Oh, it's so close, but he can't gain that lap. That's definitely a gain for Balestri. He looks like he's going to get it. He's got 1 minute and 23, but Kurzbuch will never give up. The gap that time went up by 0.3 of a second. Can Kurzbuch, or has his car slightly gone off? Balestri, let's just move a little bit less it. So Balestri now up these, but this time a better lap for Kurzbuch means he's brought it back down to 0.6, a minute to go. They're on the same frame, in the same frame for the last 20 minutes. It's a remarkable event. Who was going to win this one? Down they come, and round they go, and Kurzbuch push. But he's got himself to catch, up 0.7 of a second. He's got 3 laps to do it. He'll listen 2 more. Oh, a bit of oversteer for Kurzbuch. and you can see the gap went up very slightly. Balestri just sticking in the car on the island, on the straight. It's down for Kurzwich. Can he do it? It's going to be 3 monumental laps. It might need to be 2 monumental laps, actually. It looks like it might favour Balestri. He may just need to do this lap and one more. 24, 23. Oh, it's very, very close. They're going to cross in about 18. It's quite close, but I think Kurzwich may get caught. It may be that Balestri will have a lap of honour. They're right together, but they've just stretched enough, and Balestri seems to have just enough of a breathing room, just enough of space. The extra time he took out of Kurzwich during the pit stops, and they cross over now as Kurzwich being caught by... Yes, Kurzwich being caught! Your European champion. Let's focus on Balestri because he's got a lap of honour. Kurzwich being caught by the time. Your European champion will be Dario Balestri. A fantastic result. He had a problem in the pit stop with flame out. He had an accident. He's fought back, different runs, and a fantastic performance by Balestri. Let's see him on the rostrum. What a fantastic performance. Dario Balestri, what a victory. Great driving by the Infiniti driver. Many commiserations to Simon Kurz, but Gilles Groskamp got a podium in the end. Fantastic. Kurzwich podium. Raiola was 4th. Dom was 5th. Gruber was 6th. Peach was 7th. Mazzeo was 8th. Greiner was 9th. And Tironi was 10th.
Nick, I'm almost lost for words. That was quite incredible.
It was a cracking A final, one of, if not the best 8th track A finals, because we had the 2 guys we really thought would be going at it. Simon Kurzwich, Dario Balestri, first qualifier, Super Pole qualifier, and effectively 45 minutes of cat and mouse at full racing speed. Fantastic.
Like, the 2 guys at the top, they finished in order, but it wasn't boring. Like, normally you would say that's boring. Prize ceremony behind us, by the way.
Well done.
Well done. Well done, everyone.
Whoever won that one,
It
well
was
done.
not a boring final, and yet they did finish in grid order.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, you initially had Dario going off. You thought, he's got that one. Then he made a mistake. Then he had a flame out. Kurzwich had a lead. Then around the time of the tyre stops, it faded back. Then we realised that Dario was going to make one less stop. Then it ebbed, it flowed. Kurzwich was in the lead slightly longer. Then right about 6 minutes to go, Dario got past him, and then just able to very slowly eke out. Only really with 3 laps to go did we ever think we had a winner, and even then he was only half a mistake ahead.
And it was a great supporting cast, wasn't it?
Yep, Alessio Mazzeo, Carmen Raiola, even Dominic Greiner to begin with, Robert Pietri, all had their time when they had, as the stagger and unwound and the different strategy, all had their time at the front. But the surprise of surprises, I'm not surprised that Kurzwich was 2nd and Dario Balestri won. The super surprise was the last man on the podium, Gilles Groskamp from 10th. How did that happen?
He's worked really, really hard this week.
And for once, the legendary Groskamp luck went the other way. And it was good luck.
It was good luck. Right, let's get the final from the point of view of the top 3 guys.
One of the most difficult finals and hard race, really hard race. But I'm done. Completely done. I don't know why in the final today was so loose the car, no? Like I think even for everybody. So to make 45 minutes with Simon like this, push for 45 minutes, it's really, really difficult. I think we can make. We cannot make a replay of this final. Someone mistake for sure.
Were you happy with your pit stop and tyre change strategy?
Everything was okay. We just decided to change after. I think in the second refuel, we changed the left side to be safe. But maybe we mistake watching. I was working the car with small tires, so I don't know. But when you win, nothing to say. It was okay.
It was pretty good. It was very
Yeah.
entertaining to watch. Let's talk to Simon for a second. Simon, wow, very, very, very well, hard fought. You feel disappointed? And what are your feelings after that final? How was it for you?
Yeah, maybe a little bit disappointed, but yeah, I was 1 second behind Dario for all over the race. So I think it's a very, very good vice European champion. So I'm happy, and I think also my team is happy. We gave everything. At the end, we are almost that distance apart what we started. So it's yeah, it's good. It's good like that.
In that moment, as a racer, would you rather it be like it was today, or would you prefer a boring race where you're just out in...
A boring race.
Really?
No, no.
Me too.
Let's say, you ask me if I would like to be European champion or to have a hard race. So, of course, European champion is the goal for everyone. But I think it was really a good race from everyone. And also I think it was really fair between us. We were really close, everything can happen, but I think both paid a lot of attention. If it was at the start where you were a bit, loose in the rear, or when I was in the front, when he was behind me. So I was, when I was in front and he was just behind me, I was not afraid he would, touch me or anything will happen. So it was really, if you will go too wide, he will be there, but he will not go, try to something.
It was clean, right?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I really liked.
Fantastic. Yilis? Yilis, you came here, you were seated quite low, you had a lot of work to do, and you made the podium.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. I mean, I came to this race, not to just play around. Of course, I want to win. But I built a new car. I didn't race the class for the whole year yet. Of course, I will join the World Championship. So I saw this race also as a practice. I just changed the engine brand sponsor. And I really, only 2 weeks before this race, I break in all my engines at home and I just prepare slowly. And from Monday on, I just build up the speed. And today everything worked just flawless. In the semi, I was be able to just get third, so I get 10th in the A main, and I was in 5th, 6th position, like pretty much all of the race. And then I got really lucky that some other guys have trouble, of course. But I had a good rhythm. Of course, Dario and Simon are in a different world with this class. But I'm super happy to get third. I think this was absolutely the maximum I could do. But. Very happy for it. I want to thank Infinity and Max Power, because this is just without them I will not be here.
Fantastic, thanks Yilis.
Thank you.
Final question for Dario. You're now world champion and European champion. Looking forward to USA. What's the plan?
First of all, vive la France. Seems like France for me, it's lucky. I don't know.
Unfortunately, it's not in France, the Worlds.
But honestly, in this track, I won my first European Championship B when I was super young. Yeah, it was not the same layout, but not so different. But so, yeah, it's a good. I don't know how to say. It's amazing to win again after 20 years. Of course, like Doug Gill say, without my teammates, with my team, I cannot win this race because they made a great, unbelievable job in the tire change. I want to thank Max for engine, Kenji-san for this car, Nikaido-san, Miura-san, Massimo, my mechanic, everybody work for this result.
Dario, all three of you, congratulations. Enjoy the celebrations. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So there we have it. I think they are going to sleep well tonight. We've crowned a new European champion. He's also the world champion. But there was another European Championships taking place today, wasn't there?
Yep, the B Euros, the event that used to be a separate event but now is amalgamated in, so the more club race drivers have something to go for at the event. In fairness, if we gave the main A final 10 out of 10 as a final, you really have to be honest and say that was a 1 out of 10 final.
Really?
Well, Eric Maragon did a brilliant job, won it, because basically no one else carried on going. The other fast drivers all had problems. Arturo Battistini, he went 10 laps in. The young lad also went, and it just trolled around at the end. We were kind of just going, well, look at him, we'll look at him, we'll look at him. But Eric, you're the B champion, and it doesn't, there's no, as we always say, there's no asterisks in the record book. It doesn't say Eric Maragon, brackets, boring race. It just says Euro B champion Eric, well done, great guy.
Eric, he'll be up there in just a few minutes holding a trophy aloft. And congratulations to him. That's it. We are done. What a fantastic European Championships. Thank you to this club here at Montbonnot. They have been exquisite.
Brilliant. Marvellous food, marvellous drink, and marvellous help. Everything about this club, marvellous. If they could just have turned the thermostat down a little bit.
Yeah, quite warm. But it's going to be nice and cool next weekend because we will be in Sacile.
Yes, that well-known cold place, Italy.
Yes. Join us next weekend or throughout next week.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday on rcracing.tv and EFRA.ws for the 1/8 Off-Road European Championships. Goodbye!